What's going on, everyone? David here. So I want to talk a little bit. I did a video. I just posted a video a couple days ago talking about traveling to Colombia as well as just living in Colombia long term. And I've spent over the last 4 years, I spent about half of that time, so 2 years in Colombia. And after I posted that video, there were some people that were in the comments that were saying that you don't have to do the Check-MIG anymore. And we're going to talk a little bit about that because that's not exactly true. If you go on the website, Check-MIG website, they are still requiring you to fill out a Check-MIG form. Now, I'm going to talk about why it's important to fill out a Check-MIG form, and not just a Check-MIG form, but a step form as well. We're currently seeing a situation of civil unrest in Mexico. And so filling out a step form and filling out things like Check-MIG are very important. Now, I know when and I just had this experience. I just traveled to Colombia. I've been here for 10 days. And they didn't ask me for the Check-MIG form. Okay, and a lot of airlines aren't asking for it anymore. But I would still fill it out. And it's easy. It takes not even 5 minutes for you to go in, give them their information, where you're going to be staying, a phone number, contact phone number, as well as how long you're going to be staying. Now, the first reason why it's important to fill out a Check-MIG form is because it streamlines the process of people coming into the country. And so that's why you're filling it out. You're filling it out so immigration has information on you when you arrive. And so they can, once, they usually scan your passport. I'm sure all that information comes up. So they don't have to ask people a series of questions. They will still ask you questions when you go through immigration. But if they have all that information already, or a lot of that information already, then it streamlines the process. So you don't have to wait in line as long as you would have had to wait in line if they have to ask people a series of questions, if they have to go over the full Check-MIG form. And we know certain times that you come in, you might be coming into Medellín, you might be coming into Cartagena or Bogotá. Sometimes you have to wait a long time to go through immigration. And so to streamline that, fill out the Check-MIG form. And then also, when it comes to Check-MIG, I use it. So once I fill it out, they'll give you a printout and you can just print it out, have the physical document if you want, or you can have the screenshot. But I use it because when I go through immigration, they're going to ask me, where are you staying? Do you have the address? Yes, I do. It's right here. Where's a contact phone number? Here it is, right here. And I can show them the Check-MIG form and they can fill out all the information that they need to fill out. So you're going to need that information anyway. So you might as well go through and fill out the Check-MIG form. And I happened to ask AI, so I pulled it up just to see, is it still required? It says, yes, it's still required. But I do know that airlines, they're not asking for it all the time. Sometimes they ask for it, sometimes they don't. You don't want to be in that situation where you didn't fill out a Check-MIG form and the airline asks you for the Check-MIG form, because now you're going to have to fill it out in the airport, step out of the line, fill it out in the airport, then get back on the line and show them that you have the Check-MIG form. And to even go a step further, when you're traveling outside of the US, always fill out a step form. This is the Department of State. They have this step form. This is you're giving the State Department information, telling them that you're going to be traveling, where you're going to be staying, a contact phone number. They even will give you updates, so you can ask for updates. And so just to give you an example, I'm staying in Medellín. I filled out a step form. They're going to let me know if there are planned protests that are going to be in the area. They might have a taxi protest where taxis might block the roads. And so you want to know that information. So okay, well, maybe I shouldn't take a taxi this day, or maybe I shouldn't be out because there's going to be, a lot of commotion. So the STEP program, I would fill that out. And then they'll also let you know different areas where they're experiencing problems in some of the different parts of the country. You're going to know that information because you filled out the STEP program. And then if you are in a situation where there's civil unrest, guess what? The State Department has your information. They can reach out and contact you and say, look, we're going to set up a few planes to get people out of your area because of civil unrest or whatever is going on. And so hopefully that can help you in an emergency situation. So I would always fill out, if you're going to Colombia, fill the Check-MIG form out, fill out the STEP program. And then one more thing, travel insurance. Make sure you get travel insurance if you're traveling outside of the US, because your health insurance is not going to cover you outside of the country. And so if you get injured or you get sick, you're going to have to go to the hospital and you're going to have to pay out of pocket. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, well, it usually doesn't cost that much in other countries. That's true. It doesn't cost as much. So you can go and, go to the doctor and it's not going to cost you much. It might cost you $100 or $200, whereas in the US, it might be $1,000 or $2,000. But What's important with travel insurance is situations where you have civil unrest, you need to be evacuated out of the country, you have that travel insurance, and not all travel insurance are the same, so you have to read the fine print. But if you get travel insurance that will take care of you in a situation where there's civil unrest, or if you're in a situation where you're hurt or you're ill and you need to be medevaced out of the country and back to the US, that's what travel insurance is for. So that's what you should be focused on, not just going to the hospital, because you could go to the hospital and the hospital say, you know what, there's not much that we can do for you, and they need to medevac you somewhere else. That's where it's going to cost $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 in order to medevac you to the US. And so that's something else that you need to consider. And then just little things like you lose your bags and things like that. A lot of credit cards will already cover this, but if you have travel insurance, then you'll have extra added insurance in situations like that. Now, what I personally do, I like to shop for my travel insurance. But if you're booking airfare, when you book an airfare, you get down to that final screen, they're going to ask you if you want to get insurance. You can go through whoever. If it's United, they will work with a certain insurance provider. American Airlines works with a certain insurance provider. So you can go through them, or you can go, I use travelinsurance.com, and just type in travelinsurance.com, go to their website, and then they will give you, you just tell them how old you are, how long you're going to be in whatever country you're traveling to, and they will give you a list of different travel insurance providers, and then you can just choose the one that you want. And the reason I like to shop around is, just like I was saying, if you need to be medevaced out of an area, there's certain price levels that they will allow, okay? There's a maximum. And so you might want to go with that higher maximum depending on where you're going to be traveling to. Also, civil unrest. Not all travel insurance is going to cover you if you're in a situation where there's civil unrest. So you can look at what they are covering, and then you could make your decision based on that. And so to recap, when you're going to Colombia, when it comes to Check-MIG, I would still fill out the form, even if the airlines aren't asking for them, because there's going to be that one time they're going to ask you and you haven't filled it out, and now you're going to have to step aside and fill it out. When it comes to the STEP program, the Department of State, make sure you fill that out as well. Let them know how long you're going to be in the country. And then travel insurance. When you're looking at travel insurance, generally it's between $50 and $100, depending on how long you're going to be staying and how much everything costs. And one thing that I didn't say, they will cover you in situations where, let's say you get gravely ill and you're not able to stay in an Airbnb or stay at the hotel. They will cover that. And so that's something else. Sometimes when you book an Airbnb, it's non-refundable. It's up to the host if they want to refund you your money, and they could say no. Well, if you have travel insurance, now you have some insurance that will help you in a situation like that to reclaim your money. And then also, while we're on the topic of Airbnb, they also offer insurance. And so you can get insurance when you're booking through Airbnb. So airlines, when you're booking your ticket, as well as Airbnb, you can look for their insurance or travel insurance. And so that's all I have for this video, but I want to know what you guys think. So let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.
Coming in, flex. I just wanna win, LA BB, who we running with, 2 2 3 3, I'm on 10 again, state your name, big dope on flame. I just switched the lanes, damn, he did it again. I just flipped the